Imagine looking up at the night sky, seeing that white glowing moon and realizing that once upon a time, 3 men actually flew there. Not in a dream, not in a movie, but for real. This is a story of how humanity took one small step that changed the world forever. The year was 1961. The world was split in two. The United States on one side, the Soviet Union on the other. Both were racing for power, for pride, and for the stars. The Soviets struck first. They launched Sputnik, the first satellite, and then Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space. The world gasped. America was losing. Then one man stood before the world and made a promise that sounded impossible. President John F. Kennedy. He said, "We choose to go to the moon, not because it is easy, but because it is hard." Those words ignited a fire in a generation. America poured its heart, its science, and its soul into a mission to land a man on the moon before the decade ended. They called it Project Apollo. Thousands of scientists, engineers, and dreamers worked day and night. Rocket after rocket failed, exploded, or fell short, but every failure taught them something new. They tested new spacecraft, trained astronauts underwater to simulate zero gravity, and pushed the limits of what machines and humans could endure. And by 1969, they were ready. The mission was called Apollo 11. 3 astronauts were chosen: Neil Armstrong, calm and brave; Buzz Aldrin, brilliant and bold; and Michael Collins, the quiet guardian who would orbit the moon alone. The launch day was July 16, 1969. The world held its breath. At Cape Kennedy, Florida, the mighty Saturn V rocket, taller than a 35-story building, stood ready to pierce the sky. T-minus 10, 9, 8, ignition sequence, start. And then with a thunder that shook the ground, the rocket roared alive. Flames, smoke, power, and 3 tiny humans riding a tower of fire into the heavens. They soared through the blue sky, past the clouds, and into the blackness of space. For 3 days, they traveled nearly 400,000 kilometers through silence, stars, and wonder toward the moon. On July 20th, 1969, the lunar model nicknamed Eagle separated from the main spacecraft. Armstrong and Aldrin were inside, descending towards the lunar surface. But suddenly alarms blared. Fuel was running low. Rocks littered the landing zone. Armstrong took control manually, guiding the Eagle through the chaos. Silence, dust swirling, heartbeats pounding. And then, "Houston, Tranquility Bay is here. The Eagle has landed." Cheers erupted around the world. People cried, radios blared. The impossible had happened. Hours later, millions watched their black and white TVs as a ghostly image appeared. Neil Armstrong stepping down the ladder. He paused and then spoke words that would echo through history. "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." For 2.5 hours, Armstrong and Aldrin explored the lunar surface. They planted the American flag, not as a claim, but as a symbol of human achievement. They collected rocks, took photos, and even left behind a plaque that read, "We came in peace for all mankind." Above them, Michael Collins orbited silently, watching over his friends, utterly alone, the loneliest man in the universe. After 21 hours on the moon, the Eagle lifted off, reconnecting with Collins. Together, they began the long journey back to Earth. On July 24, 1969, they splashed down in the Pacific Ocean, heroes of a new era. All across the world, people celebrated. From city streets to small villages, strangers hugged and cried. Because for the first time in history, humankind had left its home and reached another world. The moon landing wasn't just about technology or rivalry. It was proof that human courage, imagination, and unity can achieve the impossible. Neil Armstrong would later say, "I didn't feel like a giant. I felt very, very small." And maybe that's the truth. When they looked up at the moon that night, they didn't just see rocks and dust. They saw themselves daring to dream, daring to reach, and daring to rise. So the next time you look up at the night sky, remember that glowing circle above isn't just the moon. It's a reminder of the day we touched the impossible, that proved that even the sky was never the limit. What do you think of this story? I'd like to know in the comment section. For more stories like this, please follow, like, share, and subscribe.